ward off, pluck, shoulder strike, roll back, split, elbow strike, press, push, push, push. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to go through a step-by-step core movement exercise that you can work on during Grasp the Sparrow's Tail that will help you to understand all 8 of the Tai Chi energies in reference to how the core movements create them. This is part of the Tai Chi code analysis, which you probably have not heard anywhere before unless you've been watching my videos. But I want you to try this out and see if this makes sense to you. We're going to begin with ward off, and then we're going to change one element of our core movement at a time to transition us to all of the different movements that are going to follow ward off in Grasp the Sparrow's Tail. If you're not familiar with my core movement analysis, what we're looking at is 3 elements of the core that have to be coordinated with each of the movements we're doing. The upper waist rotation, which is going to be coming from just under your rib cage on either side, your lower waist rotation, which is going to be coming from around your belly button. So practice turning your belly button to the right and to the left, separate from the upper waist rotation. They move in opposite directions on the same side of the body. And then power coming from the hips, either pushing from the glutes or pulling from the hip flexors. And that can either be from the rear leg or the forward leg, depending on the technique we're doing. We're starting off with ward off. And so what I want you to feel in ward off is your glutes are the power, pushing back against the ground. Your lower abs are creating the root in each one of these situations. So the lower abs are going to be rooting the rear leg by activating on the left. We can think about the lower abs as rotation. Turn the belly button back towards the extending glutes. And we can also think of the lower abs from their other function, which is tucking the pelvis. And so the lower abs are going to, at the same time, turn the belly button back to the left if I'm activating the left lower abs or internal obliques, and they're going to tuck the pelvis on the left. So as we think about pushing forward, think about pushing off the ground with the glutes, and think about tucking the pelvis with the lower abs on the left. And the final element is the rotation from the upper waist, which will be turning towards the left side. So that is all 3 elements of the core setting up ward off. Now, to start the turn out before rollback, we're first going to switch the lower abs. So we're going to take the tuck from the left lower abs, and we're going to tuck on the right and release the tuck on the left. That's going to take us to here. That is actually the core technique of pluck. Now that we've done that, the tuck is on the front leg. We're going to take the upper waist and turn it towards the front leg. And then now we have our third position, which will in the core techniques be shoulder strike, upper and lower waist turning away from the extending hip. Now all we have to do is flex the right hip, take away the extension from the left hip, flex the right hip, and we've turned the shoulder strike into rollback. Upper and lower waist turning towards a flexing hip. Now we're going to transition into the movement before press. First by taking the lower abs again, and we're going to go in reverse direction of the waist rotation that we did after going forward. I'm going to turn the lower abs back to the left, tucking the pelvis on the left. That brings me to here. This is the core technique for split. Then I'm going to take the upper abs and turn it back in the other direction towards the left. And that is going to fully sink me back into this position with the left palm against the right wrist. This is the core technique for elbow strike. Upper and lower waist turning away from the flexing hip. Now we're going to press. We'll need to change 2 elements of the core to do the press, because we have to change the hip power from flexion of the right hip to flexion of the left hip, and we have to turn the waist rotation from counterclockwise to clockwise. That brings us to here. So this is press. Flexion of my left hip, upper waist is turning clockwise, lower abs are turning counterclockwise, tucking the pelvis. In this situation, a lot of people get confused of how you can move yourself forward with a rooted leg, but by flexing the hip. It's because you're pulling the hip up like that, but the lower abs are turning back towards the left, rooting that leg to the ground, preventing it from leaving, even though the hip muscle is pulling forward. So that is the energy of press. Had I turned the lower abs to the right, it would have just pulled me off the ground. So it's the lower abs that are keeping the heel pressed into the ground during press. Now we have to just change one element to get to push. Extend the glutes, and then now we have push. So we have all of our core waist rotation in the left side and glutes on the left. Now we're going to shift back by switching all 3 elements at the same time. Upper waist is going to go to the left, lower abs are going to go to the right, and we're going to extend the right hip, and that is push. We had push forward, now we have push backward coming from the right hip, and now again we're going to switch all 3 elements again and get push forward. Glutes on the left, lower abs tucking on the left, and upper waist turning forward on the left. Those are all of the movements in Grasp the Sparrow's Tail, taking the core movements one at a time and demonstrating where all 8 of the Tai Chi energies are present within Grasp the Sparrow's Tail if you have a mechanical understanding. Ward off, pluck, shoulder strike, roll back, split, elbow strike, press, push, push, push. Alternative movements in other ways people perform Grasp the Sparrow's Tail after press, push. When you see the sinking back here, that is press coming off the right hip, not push coming off the right hip. That's press and then push. That's the difference between flexion of the right hip or extension of the right hip as we're doing the push sequence. And then one final alternate demonstration, we did ward off this way. That's the way I was taught in the school I went to, but other people step out in more of the parting the wild horse's main stance and then do ward off this way. That is a combination first of pluck, upper waist turning towards the extending hip, lower abs turning away from it. That's the first part of the motion. And then we turn the lower abs back to the left and get the full ward off. When we do it in full motion, they all just move together, so it looks like one movement, but it's really 2 different energies sequenced together. So that is a complete analysis of Grasp the Sparrow's Tail, looking at core movements and how they correlate with the 8 energies of Tai Chi. And if you go back to my other video on Rollback, I go through the trigrams for each one of those 8 energies so you can understand the yin and yang principles as I understand them from my analysis of body movement. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, drop me a comment and let me know what you think about this analysis, because this isn't analysis that you will see anywhere else. Hopefully, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.